Hey, you're watching Happy June Tarot Queen. I'm Melissa. I had a couple of readings that were in the hopper, and I don't know, they got all mixed up. So I think I'm just gonna. It's been a while since I posted one, and I feel like I might just leave that in the past and start again. I had because I just don't even feel like going back and figuring out what happened with those readings. So on that note, we're going to start with the Angels and Ancestors Oracle. There's definitely been a lot of I would say progression. Like there were readings up before I sort of like fell off the grid. We're speaking of this breakthrough that was sort of like imminent. Oh my gosh, this was at the bottom of the deck when I pulled it out, and also I shuffled and then it was still at the bottom. So we got Eagle, see things from a higher perspective. So, you know, the eagle, like from the perspective, like from the shamanic perspective, like the eagle is the sort of like totem animal that's like the most like enlightened, you know. So seeing things from a higher perspective, the eagle has discernment where it can see like fine details on the ground, but yet has this bird's eye view. So they're sort of like not getting pulled down into like sort of maybe the morass and the like raw emotions of the situation, but has like more enlightened perspective, you know. And also the eagle symbolizes freedom, of course. And then we have Trader, exchange energy to create abundance. So what I just got from that combo, first of all, the Trader has been coming up a bunch this month and last month, and it's like all about the reading for the month of January was about sort of like making a shift in your perspective to get on the right track. And then the reading for February was all about change your story, change your life, you know. So it's all about like reinforcing this theme of, you know, shifting your perspective, like seeing things from a higher perspective. And then that's what's gonna push this breakthrough forward, you know. So there's obviously what I'm getting is this opportunity that is here, but there's a need to sort of figure out how to integrate this into the current situation. Like there's a gap between that and where you are now, and there's like a need to build a bridge and trying to figure out how that's going to work. So that's an interesting message. I'm going to go to Sacred Forest and we'll pick a card from this. Yeah, it's really interesting because the Trader has been coming up a lot. And it's interesting too because I was just watching this class about like the Dharma of business or something about Dharma and business, and it's like being taught by this yoga academy, but I was really interested in like that, you know, kind of trying to reconcile these sort of seemingly ideas that are sort of like not, or kind of divergent, but like figuring a way to bridge that. And so it's interesting that I was watching that right before this. Okay, so when I did the split, we got Bluebeard Spirit, Happiness, and we got Spirit Guardian of Spring, Activation. We got the Maypole here, so this is really interesting. What I just got from that combination was sort of like follow your bliss, like that's gonna lead you to the right place. that's what's gonna maybe give you the inspiration or the sort of like light bulb moment where you're gonna be able to like draw the bridge. So follow your bliss, and like it's gonna lead you to the answer. That's what I just got. So okay, I'm gonna go to the Transient Light Tarot. We're gonna go with the light and the shadow perspective on the current situation and see what we get. Okay, well, right when I pulled it out of the deck, what's interesting is we got the Ten of Swords and we got the Nurturer, which is like the Empress. So, I mean, immediately, it's interesting that this Empress has 10 stars above the Pearl. So it's sort of like, obviously the end of one cycle and the beginning of another. We're sort of at this point in between journeys, like you're kind of getting off one. It's like, you know, the whole thing in January of like you have to change tracks, and then for February it's like change your story, change your life. And that's kind of where we're at. We're sort of like re-envisioning how we're gonna engage the world around us, and we're sort of at that point right now. And it's interesting because right when I'm saying that, we have the Seven of Vessels, the Seven of Cups. So it's like there's all these different options. What's behind doors number 1 through 7, and which way are we going to go? You know, we're kind of contemplating all of that. We got the Magician. So we're manifesting, creating something out of nothing. We got the Crown of Wands. So this is like inspired action, empowerment, making it happen. So it's like we're kind of going from 0 to 60, you know, because it's just like, it's almost like once we get the clarity, once we have the light bulb moment, like things are going to start moving really fast. Because it's like all the pieces are kind of here, you know? I mean, the pieces are all here. It's just, the problem is that we're not clear on the vision. Like once we clear that up, it's just going to be, it's going to be fire, you know? So yeah, and at the bottom of the deck, we have the Hanged, the Hanged one. So that's perfect. Like we're taking a time out because we're not clear, and we need to get that clarity. We need to dial that in, and then it's like out of the gate and like on fire, you know? Okay, so let's go to the shadow element and see what that perspective might offer us. Yeah, like when I did the split, we got Three of Swords and introspection. So this is kind of like the Hermit, but it's just sort of like, obviously we're kind of like stepping out of this heartbreaking moment, and we're still kind of processing everything that happened, and, you know, not wanting to repeat the same experience. And so wanting to take the wisdom from that experience and move forward into a next level kind of experience. But it's not entirely clear yet, so we're still working that out. Okay. This is so weird. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, so we got the Monarch, which is like the Emperor. So this is someone who's like fully in their power. This is like a boss, you know, like this is large and in charge, making it happen, like, and that's the thing, like this person has all this potential, and like all the pieces are there. It's just sort of like it's floating around them, but they haven't honed in on the vision, you know, like they know it's all about to happen, but there's going to be this moment where it's all going to click into place and it's going to be like, oh, go, you know, like that's kind of what I'm getting. So yeah, so we got potential. So this is the Fool in the regular deck, you know, like limitless potential, like everything's here, you know, but yet we have the Two of Swords. Like this person is sort of like blocking themselves. It's like they have all the pieces, limitless potential, it's all here, but yet they're blocking themselves from like just taking off, you know? And the thing is like, yeah, like there's some moment of enlightenment or inspiration that's going to come, and it's going to shake everything up in an instant. Revolution. This is the Tower. So like all of a sudden it's just going to be like, oh, you know, like you're finally going to see how it can all work. And it's going to be like, it's like been in front of you. Like you just, it's like your perspective just hasn't caught up to what's happening around you yet. And like finally enough stuff is going to shift that you're just going to be like, oh, you know. So it's like, it's kind of like, this is an example, but like, for example, like someone who's gone through this horrible breakup and it's like really heartbreaking, and you know, all they can see is like how heartbroken they are and how blah blah blah, you know, painful, and like they're never gonna love again, and the world is so hard, and blah blah blah, you know. And slowly, unbeknownst to them, like their heart is healing, you know, like day by day, little by little. And then one day you just wake up and realize, oh, I'm totally over it. And then you see all these possibilities in front of you that you weren't seeing before because you were blocking yourself, you know. That's kind of what I'm getting. Like this person is like just like on the edge of like tipping over into this new frontier, this new life, but they don't quite get it yet. It's like the universe is like working all around them, you know, when all this stuff is falling into place. It's like been slowly falling into place, but this person isn't necessarily seeing it yet. It's like happening in the subconscious realm. But something's going to happen where it's like going to be like, it's going to like shake them up enough to realize like, oh, you know, like there's no place like home. Like that was like a Dorothy thing that happened in a bunch of readings also. Okay, so this was at the bottom of the deck and it just plopped out again, so I feel like that's it. Important, beloved, radical acceptance. And then at the bottom we have gathering around, the power of community. So it's almost like whatever this heartbreak is that happened, like it's almost like you're finally going to be able to let it go, accept what happened, and also accept the growth that came from that situation, and be able to see the situation in its totality, you know. Because like I think a lot of times when people's hearts get broken, like you get kind of shell-shocked, and that's part of the problem. Like you're in like this self-protecting cocoon, you know. But it's almost like this person is going to have like this community that's going to come around them and embrace them. So it's like all your friends come over and they're like, we're going out, you know, you can't just stay here feeling sorry for yourself. Like it's time to go. Let's go, you know. So that's kind of like what it's almost like an intervention is what I'm getting. Like a gentle, nice intervention. And maybe in like some kind of business sort of realm that's happening. But it's happening. So Yeah. It's interesting because it's a business realm, but like, it's like there's this message of follow your bliss. So it's just sort of like that's going to lead you to the partnerships and the opportunities that are really in line with your dharma, you know? So, yeah, this is like really um it's like crossing the bridge, you know? Like we're actually taking the trip. We're like taking the step. We're stepping out onto the bridge, and the future is happening. It's unfolding in real time, and it's a beautiful thing. So, breakthrough in progress.